Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mariah and this is Woolen Words. Today I have another podcast for you. I want to go through all of my whips and everything that I've been working on the last couple of weeks, and I hope you will join me. So hopping right in, first I want to talk about finished objects, and I have two, which weren't even whips last time. They were very impromptu for me to cast on, but I finished both of them. I hopped in last second to the Cozy Along 2024, and this was hosted by Natalie of Knitty Natty and also Leslie of Knit California. They both have cozy patterns. Leslie's is a e-reader pattern so that you can do for like a Kindle or a little iPad or something like that, an e-reader. And then of course Natalie from Knitty Natty has yarn cozies and also can cozies. And so I decided to get her yarn cozy light pattern. I actually got the bundle for the yarn cozies, but I made two of the yarn cozy lights. I did one, and this one was just the simple pattern, the very simple one. It just is a little bit ribbed. But then I made another one, and that is the like faux cable one design, and I'm actually using it for yarn cake already, so let me grab that. So I have some yarn in here that I will talk about in a little bit because it is part of a project that I am about to start. But this is the I think it's like a faux cable cozy, and this has the beautiful stitching on it that looks like a little twisted stitch, or it is a twisted stitch to make it look like a little cable. And I think this one was so fun to make. It flew right off my needles. I think I finished it in a day and a half. It was so much fun, and I'm so glad that I took the time to make these, because not only are they fun, quick projects that use up some scrap yarn, but they also are very useful. And I learned how to do an attached I-cord bind off, and that was really fun. These were just scrap yarns. I don't know if you recognize, but this is the color Vintner from Brooklyn Tweed Pierre, and this I used from my hummingbird sweater. So this was some leftovers that I had. I actually have a lot of leftover yarn from that, but I wanted to make at least one yarn cozy from an open skein that I had wound up. The other two are still in hanks, they are untouched, so I thought I would leave those whole and use up some scraps. And then this was from a really long time ago. I made my husband some socks. So this colorway is from Forest Fiber Arts, and it is their nylon 3-ply sock yarn, and it is in the color Winter Birch. And I will tell you, this has been so far like my favorite sock yarn to work with. I've only made a few pairs of socks before, but oh my goodness, this yarn is a dream. I love it. I love the, I don't want to say stiffness, but I love the way, the texture of it when you're working with it. I think the finished project always looks so polished with this yarn, as opposed to other yarns that I've used. I feel like the sock yarn that I'm using right now is just a big box store yarn, and it's not my favorite by far. So it made me really appreciate this yarn all the more, because this is one of my favorite yarns ever. And this yarn is 90% Targhee and 10% nylon. So I don't know if that's why I love it so much or something, but this has by far been my favorite. So good. Okay, moving on. We are going to whips. They're pretty much the same ones that I had last time, but I have a few updates that I wanted to share with you guys, and a lot of progress on one of them. I'm very excited. So I'll share that one with you first. This is some really exciting progress to my Soundstone poncho. Now this is a pattern by Laura Schmidt, and I am almost done. It is getting so big. I can barely hold it up. It's so heavy, and it's upside down. But look at all of this. Okay, let me show you where I had my progress keeper last time. It was somewhere on this. Here we are. So this, I don't even know if you can see it, but this is my progress keeper. It's a little cactus. I'll try and show you better in a second. But all of this I've done in the last about week and a half because I had a busy weekend where I did not get to make much progress. I have about 3 inches left, and that is it. And the beautiful thing is that I am on my last colorway for this. So the beautiful yarn that you see is from Destination Yarn, and it is a DK weight, and I have 4 colorways. So it is 100% superwash merino wool, and like I said, a DK weight, and this is her souvenir yarn base, and I have 4 colors. So the top one right here is the Stars at Night, and then this blue is the denim, and then this beautiful speckly colorway, it reminds me of like cotton candy, but it is called Wide Open Spaces, and it is very reminiscent of all of the wildflowers that we get in Texas. And then the last one that you can't really see yet because it is so similar is Longhorn, and I can show you what Longhorn looks like up close. And then I kept a little scrap of each of them. I love doing this, by the way. When I am winding hanks into cakes, I will take the snippets that you cut off and save them, wind them around, just so I have a little sample of the yarn colors, the colorways. And that way I have all the information on here for each color and the yarn, and so that I don't forget while I am working on it. But like I said, I have 3 inches left on this bad boy, and then we are done. I'm so excited. I don't make a lot of wearables for myself. I've made 1 pair of socks so far. I have crocheted a couple of things, but I don't tend to wear them for some reason. This, I feel like I am really excited to get some use out of this in the colder months. So it might take a while, but I'm glad I'll have it done and ready for those colder months. And it is beautiful. The yarn is beautiful to work with. I love the colors. Oh, and I was gonna mention, the other colors were so different from each other. They do all have similar colors in them. Like this one has this denim blue in it, but not enough, so you can really see the stripes when I was color fading, which I don't mind. I think it's really cool. And then again, here you can really see the contrast between Wide Open Spaces and the denim colorway. And again, I don't mind it, but it is really funny to me that the last 2 that I chose are the most similar. So it transitions beautifully. It was so hard for me to tell where I was when I was fading these 2 because it transitions so seamlessly, and I absolutely love that. So I think once it's finished, I feel like you won't even be able to tell that it's 2 different colors, you know? I am so excited to see how that works out. It's also getting much too big for this project bag that I have it in. I just got this at Target in the dollar spot section, but I love it because it has the drawstring fabric on the top. And I love the color. I love purple. It's so fun. And I feel like I don't have enough purple things in my life. And the next whip that I want to talk to you and show you a little bit of progress that I made is my toe-up socks. Now, this is working up really nicely. I had to put it on different needles because I needed the longer cord for something else. But I just have these small, they said it was 16-inch circulars, but I don't know if I believe them. These are very short. They're perfect for this because you don't need a very big circular needle. But these are just toe-up socks. I'm using the Nimble Needles pattern by Norman over there, and I am also helical knitting these because I needed to combine 2 skeins of yarn for these socks, and I didn't want them to be just 2 completely different socks, which is working up really well. I think they're very fun, and these socks are for my husband, so they are pretty massive. I think I've said this before, but we both have really big feet, so we need a lot of sock yarn. But these, I'm finally working on the leg, and I am just using another pair of socks that I made him to measure these as I go, because I've never made toe-up socks before, so I didn't know how big to make everything. And then I did a German short row heel, so that was different. I really enjoyed knitting it. It was very fun and simple, and I loved it. So we'll see if he enjoys wearing it as much as I enjoyed making it, because I've only ever done like a slip stitch heel and gusset before. But yes, I am almost done. I think the last time I showed you I was down here, and so I've just done maybe 15, 20 rows maybe. So that has been really nice and fun. And just to briefly go over the yarn again, this yarn is not my favorite, I will say. For sure not my favorite, but it is just the Patton's Croy Socks sock yarn. This one is in Sidewalk colors, and this one is in Blue Brown Marl, but I don't think they make it anymore. I feel like they rotate their colors pretty often, and that's why I had to get this other color, because they no longer had the Blue Brown Marl. But yes, that's just a simple project. This project bag is by Paper Crane Yarns. She has a lovely podcast over here on YouTube, and also a yarn shop, and she makes bags, and she has a really beautiful new bag pattern that she is just trying out that I am really excited about. It is a yarn bag that is designed to wear on your wrist, so you can take it on the go. You can knit and walk, or you can carry it around with you like a little handbag. It's adorable, and I definitely need to look into getting one, because her yarn bags always have the most fun fabric and designs, and I love them. So definitely go check her out if you're in the need for yarn, notions, bags. She has an amazing little shop in Alabama. So if you checked out my last podcast, you know that I do have some other projects ongoing, but I'm kind of putting them on hold right now. For one, I'm not really interested in working on them. I think I just have lost interest, and maybe one day I'll pick them back up. But I have a ranunculus going, which I do want to finish that, but I feel like I never want to work on it. It's the catch-22 of knitting. But there's a ranunculus, and then I have a granny v-neck sweater. It's a crochet sweater. And that one, I just have not been wanting to crochet recently, and I'm sure I will again soon. It always goes in cycles for me, phases. But then I also have another crochet project, and it's a crochet sock, because I wanted to make one to compare to knit socks, but I, again, have just not been in a crocheting mood lately, so I just haven't worked on it at all. Like at all. So one day I'll pick those back up, I'm sure, and if not, no big deal. I'll just frog them or something eventually if I really lose interest, but for now I'm just putting them on hold. We'll see if I ever come back to them. So the only other thing that is a works in progress that I have is I made a gauge swatch. So this gauge swatch was to test out the yarn and needle combination for the sea salt tee. And if you checked out my last video, this is one of the patterns that I am just really excited to knit one day. And as I was working on that video, I realized I had some yarn in stash that fit the criteria for that pattern. So I knit up this gauge swatch to figure out if I liked this yarn for this project. And I think it's a lot drapier than I originally wanted for this, but it's just so beautiful that I don't think I could pass it up. This yarn is so dreamy and soft, and it has a little bit of drape to it, and I just adore it. This is yarn that I got at DFW Fiber Fest a couple years ago, and this is Madeline Tosh Pashmina yarn. This is a sport weight yarn, and it is 75% superwash merino wool, 15% silk, and 10% cashmere. And it is just a dream. I love this yarn so much. It is in the colorway Frontier Stars. It was their show colorway for that year of DFW Fiber Fest. and it is gorgeous. I love the way that it is working up. I was worried that it was going to be a lot more of the light blue color, which wouldn't have been bad necessarily, but it is beautiful with all of the speckly goodness in there. I think it is just beautiful. And I really want to make this into something that I will use and wear, and I really think that the sea salt tea is going to be the ticket for me. I think it is just too good to pass up, and because I have this yarn, I want to use it. And this pattern seems to be the best fit for me and for what I want to do with it. So I'm very excited, very, very excited to cast this on, but this was my first step into doing that. I think I need to go down a needle size still. I think that'll do the trick. The only reason I'm going down a needle size is because when I blocked this, it grew actually quite a bit. I think it grew almost, it was like 0.75 stitches bigger per inch. So like that's quite a big difference when you're going to block an entire t-shirt. So I think I'm gonna have to go down a needle size and possibly even knit a little bit smaller of a size than I was planning on. We will see. Or I could keep the same needle size and knit a size down of the pattern. Actually, that might be a better idea. I'll have to think about that. I'm not sure what makes more sense. I'll have to run some calculations and see what makes more sense for that. Anyway, let's move on. I want to show you some acquisitions that I got. So if you watched my last podcast, you will know that my family came to visit, and that was so much fun. We had such a great weekend, and one of the things that we did was travel down to Waco, and we went to the Dr. Pepper Museum, as one does when one goes to Waco. It was so much fun. I had been there before, but my family had not, so it was very, very fun to go and see it with them. And one of the things that I got in the gift shop were these set of charms. There's an old bottle of Dr. Pepper, there's a Dr. Pepper Museum sign, and then the Dr. Pepper logo, of course. But the reason I got these was because I thought they would make such cute progress keepers. So I thought I could just throw them on maybe like a lobster clip or a closure of some sort. I forget what they're all called. But I can throw them on some of those so then I can attach them to my knitting and keep them as progress keepers. And the other acquisition that I got is so, so special. My sister recently traveled to Japan, and while she was there, she bought me yarn. And these are these cute little merino silk blends, and the colors are just gorgeous. It says that it is 60% merino wool and 40% silk. So these are soft and a little that have that sheen to it. Now the colors are just numbers for me, but it is 2605, 2612, and 2617. But it looks like this is called ski yarn, and the rest of the label is in Japanese. But I love these colors. They are so cute, and I think they go well together as well. So I really need to figure out what I want to make with these. Something special, something cute will be really good to make out of these. I'm not sure if it says, oh, these are 30-gram balls. So 90 grams of yarn. I could definitely do something cute with this, but I definitely have to thank my sister for getting me yarn in Japan. So now we'll move on to a little bit of a life update. Like I said, we had family visiting, so that took up about 4 or 5 days. That was so, so special because my Nana and her 2 sisters, so my great aunts, they came to stay with me and my family, and my sister flew in to stay with us as well, and that was so special. so good to have that time all together. And while they were here, we definitely took them to see the town and go to some restaurants. We had a blast. We went down and saw the Dr. Pepper Museum. We went to Magnolia because it is very close, and they had a blast. They loved the Dr. Pepper Museum. They had so much fun, and we all got Dr. Pepper and Dr. Pepper floats at the end. They had so much fun. Another special thing that happened while they were here is that I was able to give my Nana her hummingbird sweater finally. All of that hard work finally paid off, and I was able to give it to her and my sister. Thank you so much. She got some footage of me giving it to her and her opening it, and she loved it. She had so much fun. She immediately put it on, and then I think there was only one day that she was here that she did not wear it.
Oh, Mariah. Look at the beautiful colors. Look what I got. Oh my. Oh, look. Oh, mira.
Wow. Look, do you see what's on there?
Oh. Yeah. Mariah, this is beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, Mariah made this.
Well, I should take a picture then.
Oh. Qué bonito. I love it. I love it.
I'm so glad you do. Good.
That is something that she really
I just love it.
It was so special that she loved it so much because I definitely made it specifically for her, and the colors I chose and the pattern that I chose, and I was so happy that she loved it as much as I wanted her to, as much as I hoped she would. In other random news, I wanted to share with you some shows that we've been watching. There's always a show or two that we have on rotation that we watch like while we're eating dinner or while we're relaxing before bed, stuff like that. And our recent show that we've been watching is Arrested Development, and it is so funny. We have such a blast watching that. It's just hilarious. And then another show that I've been watching is I've been catching up on Bridgerton. I watched the first season when it came out, as I'm sure most people did, and I thought it was really fun. Definitely a good just show to put on when you're knitting or doing something. I love it. So I had started the second season, but I had never finished it. I feel like we just got busy and I never really had time to watch a show on my own. Or I would choose to watch other things, and that's okay. But I decided to finish the second season, and I got a lot of my poncho knitting done while I was watching Bridgerton, so that was very fun. And I finished the second season. I feel like the first half of the second season wasn't quite as interesting as the first season was to me, but it got really good at the end and I really enjoyed it. And then I started the third season that they put out. I literally just watched the first episode, and so far I'm very intrigued. I'm very excited to see what happens. I mean, I kind of know the story already because everybody's been talking about the books and the show and everything, but it's still fun to see how it happens and all of the little details. So I'm excited to keep watching that. I feel like it's the perfect show to watch while you're knitting or working on something, even just like to have it on in the background while you're doing the dishes. I feel like it's that kind of perfect show for me. So next I wanted to move on to plans. This is kind of a small one right now because I did already talk about the sea salt tea, and that for sure is something that I want to cast on as soon as I can. I am going to try and finish the poncho, and then as soon as I have that done, I want to work on the sea salt tea, maybe even cast it on and see how that goes. So just to have a little bit of information about the pattern, it is the Sea Salt Tea by Atelier Castine, and it is just kind of a basic staple tee pattern. And I already went over the yarn with you. It is the Madeline Tosh Pashmina in Frontier Stars. Beautiful yarn, love the feel. It did grow unexpectedly, so I will try and figure out if I want to go down a needle size or if I want to just use that needle size and make the size smaller, which the more I'm talking about it, the more that seems like the better option. I will have to do some calculations and make sure that size isn't gonna be too small and will still give me the fit that I want, but I will definitely keep that in mind. Now, the other two plans that I have for hopefully soon are the Darjeeling top, which I have talked about so much. I love this pattern. I love the way that it looks, and I really want to make it, but I do not have any yarn that suits it. I really would want to pick something specifically for this project. So until then, I will have to hold off on starting this project. But the other project that I really want to make soon is the 1990s cardigan. And I'm calling it that because I don't know what the name of this pattern is. It is a vintage pattern that was in a magazine a really long time ago, but it came out in the 1990s. I found this pattern on, I think it was Etsy, and it was just a couple dollars to download the pattern. So I went ahead and got it. I think it's Jaeger cardigan or Jaeger 1990s cardigan. Something like that is what it says on the page. That pattern uses DK weight yarn, so I will definitely have to find yarn to use for that one. In my stash, the DK weight yarn that I do have, I don't think I have enough yards to make this cardigan, so I might have to go out and figure out what yarn I want to use, maybe get some new yarn to see about making that one. And that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that this was a little bit of a shorter podcast because I know the last one was very long, but I had been a long time since I had last talked to you, so I had to catch up on everything. But this one and hopefully the future ones won't be too long. But again, thank you for being here. If you like this video, give it a like. Subscribe for more content from me, and check out the description. You can find some links to support me. You can buy me a cup of coffee or go towards my yarn fund for new projects. But I hope you have a wonderful day. Let me know of anything that you are working on in the comments down below. I would love to hear about it, and I will see you next time. Bye!